Hello everybody, it's Angeline. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss how we can draw more proportionately when using an image reference. The method that I'm using is to split the image into grids so that we can tell exactly where each element is supposed to be on the paper. It will also help those of us who tend to draw and realize that some of our elements are bigger than others, or we run out of space to incorporate everything. This method is also helpful if you are scaling into a larger surface to do your artwork on. So imagine you have a smaller picture and you want to transfer it onto a larger canvas to paint on. You can also use this method. I think it'll become clearer if you watch the demo and practice along as we go. So I have with me my image reference on my iPad, and I have a piece of paper that I'm going to be using. You can prepare things like your eraser. Perhaps you want to use a ruler. I'm not so much a ruler type of person, so yeah. And then pencil. So first, what we are going to do is to divide this image into grids. My image here is vertical and tall. It's like a rectangle. So I think I'm going to split it into 6. I'm not very exact when it comes to things like that, so I'm a very estimate type of person. But if you are someone who is more particular, you can use your ruler, make some measurements. So if your image is a square, you would then divide your image into 4 or 9 grids. For today's example, I'm doing 6 grids. I'm going to do the same on my piece of paper here. So the book is somewhere starting from the center of this grid. So around here. So the book is going down. It fills up the page around that area. It looks rectangular, so I'm going to draw that in. A little bit of width. It curves and it crosses over the middle line here, as you can see. So that's what I did. Going upwards, another curve. So just around there. The baguette fills up this area just above the pitch. So this is where the baguette is. Now remember, you are not doing a photorealistic type of uh, reproduction, so you don't have to be super duper particular about the exact look of things. You are basically marking out the lines where you would see that item. So next, I'm moving on to this vase. It starts off around the center of this grid, so that's where I'm going to mark it. Curves down close to the baguette and ends around here. Yeah, so I have that bottle. There's flowers going on. It goes all the way towards the middle of this top box. So I'm going to draw kind of an outline that reaches around the center of that top box. So this is like the boundary line where the flowers are going to be. Later on, maybe when you're going in with your color pencils or your paints, you'll know exactly where to place those flowers. Anyway, the whole point of this exercise is so that we save enough space for everything that we want to draw, right? So this is going to help us have a good gauge of where things are landing on your paper. In the middle of the page, we have 2 glasses of water. It's about the height of this vase, a little smaller. It's long, long, curves down. And then there's another glass next to it that's wider. Goes to maybe 1/3 of this image. 1/3 is around here. Wide. Curves in. Yep, so thereabouts. Next to it we have a tall wine bottle. This is around center of that grid. I drew it a little too wide, so now it's overlapping. So you have to make that artistic choice whether it bothers you or not, whether you want to erase, and then you can move and shift that bottle over towards the left so that things don't overlap. So now there are some blocks of cheese. The cheese should be lower. So I'm gonna shift it down. So this wine bottle is much taller. So with our grid lines, it takes the guesswork out of the picture. We know exactly where things start and end and where things went wrong. So like what I did earlier, I knew immediately that I have to move my cheese downwards. There are a lot of chunky cheese. I'm gonna leave that for now and move on to a different section. The lemons, they are in the second half of this grid. So if I split it, it's below this half. Okay, 4 lemons. The first one starts at the bottom. Second one hiding behind. Third one, a little circular. It's open around the cross section. Center of it is here. Divide. And you see the back of that lemon a little. Finally, we have that 4th lemon around here. Okay. I'm erasing that guideline I drew in the middle just now. So now up to you if you are going in to draw the cloth, the linen that is housing all the lemons. Sometimes drawing a little too much detail when you're sketching can make things a little confusing, and it makes the artwork a little bit rigid later on. So a lot of it boils down to your personal preference as well. Today's session is more about how do we use an image reference and how do we kind of transport it over to our drawing paper so that things are proportionate. There's space for all the elements that we want to capture. Okay, now there are some leaves here hiding. Leaves. I'm very in Singapore language we call it aga-aga. So I'm a very estimate type of person. I'm not super particular about following exactly what I see. I think when making art, we need to sometimes allow for space for artistic interpretation. Okay, so flowers around this area, you can mark out some estimated location of the flowers. Direction of the flowers. Water. So this is the jar. Yeah. So we have already captured all the elements in this image over here. If you want to, you can continue to mark out the background, which is where the table is. It's a circular table. And all the way around. Okay, so now I can remove my guidelines. If you drew your guidelines lighter than what I did, you won't have to do this erasing. Yep. But for the sake of just showing everyone, down, that's the bottom of that glass cup. Okay. So there we have it. So there we have our image here. It's good to know that there is space for everything, and if you're happy with your sketch, you can go ahead and color it in or draw it out or refine your lines. So refining the lines doesn't mean that you have to redraw everything again. Basically, you're just darkening some of the parts that you want and then, erasing some of the rest. Like this flower over here, it's very estimated, so you can start to go in with all your colors if you want to.